Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Keep Arizona Blue, where we get into all things politics over a cup of coffee. Today, we are here with Kristie O'Brien, and Kristie is running for the Arizona State Senate in Legislative District 13. She has worked for both Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill, gaining a deep understanding of bipartisan collaboration. And Kristie has also had experience serving in the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Today, she is an attorney and a candidate focused on affordability, healthcare access, strengthening public education, and securing Arizona's natural resources for the future. Kristie, I'm so excited that you joined us today.
Thank you, Ava. I'm excited to be here with you.
Okay, so we like to open our show by explaining the mug that we brought with us and what it means to us. So I'll go first. I have this red mug with me. I'm trying to get in the holiday spirit, but I couldn't find my Christmas mug. So today, this is what I'm working with.
I like it. Well, today I brought my Lego girl mug. She is sassy and she reminds me of my twin boys. They're 7, they'll be 8 next week, and I have spent many a nights in the dark stepping on a random Lego.
I love that. I love that story. Okay, so now that we've got that covered, I love to take things back to the early parts of your career. Kristie, you're someone with extensive experience and knowledge across many different fields. But what I'm curious about is what first drew you into the realm of politics?
So I'm the daughter of a social worker. My mother worked for the city of Phoenix for over 30 years, and I saw the direct impact that policy makes on the community, both good and bad. So I knew from a young age that I wanted to play a part in making the world better. In high school, I was selected as a student ambassador to represent the state of Arizona in the former Soviet Union, when it was still the Soviet Union. And I was actually in the Ukraine on the day they declared their independence. So after I returned back to the state, I joined Model UN. I got involved in Amnesty International, and then I got more involved back home.
That's really interesting. I actually didn't know that as a fellow Model UN kid. I'm super impressed and inspired. And like you said, you're somebody that came from public service workers. So that's really interesting to hear.
So when I was a freshman in college in Washington, D.C., I signed up to work on my first presidential campaign. And the first day I volunteered, civil rights leader Jesse Jackson came in with the Rainbow Coalition looking for people to help him register voters down on the National Mall. And that experience changed my life. It showed me whether we registered 10 or 100 voters, we empowered them to vote for the rest of their lives. And it showed the impact just one person can make on politics and on our country. And then I used that experience of working on the presidential campaign. It just showed the amount of collaboration that it takes to win a campaign. And that experience led me to work on local grassroots issues in the DC metropolitan area. I canvassed and did voter outreach for Greenpeace and Clean Water Action. And then those experiences led me to applying for an internship at the United States Senate. And I was selected as an intern for the U.S. Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works for the majority. And it was the first time I got to work with both sides of the aisle on the reauthorization of the Clean Air and Clean Water Act. And I really saw the amount of negotiations and discussions that go on in order to create bipartisan legislation before it gets to the floor.
Okay, wow. I know I already said this earlier, but you are truly somebody that has a lot of experience in all of the different fields. And what I think is especially interesting about you as a person is how that expanded internationally. So, how did your policy work eventually go beyond the US and lead you into international roles? And can you shed light onto that journey? Because I think that's something that really distinguishes you from a lot of other candidates.
So after I finished my undergraduate degree, I stayed in Washington, D.C. I worked while I was going to graduate school. So I worked at a law firm, and then I worked for the music industry. And they then while I was going to Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, my focus shifted to a lot of the international work. And then that led to me going abroad. I learned about trafficking, human trafficking in Thailand. I saw what happens when governments, you know, condone behavior or allow things to happen without any consequence. And I felt that I wanted to get involved in a lot more of the human rights issues and more of the international law issues. So I ended up going to law school, and then that led to an internship at The Hague, where I monitored the war crimes tribunals before the Special Court of Sierra Leone, which was the Charles Taylor trial. And then I worked on the initial cases before the International Criminal Court, which were the child soldier cases. And then I worked with NGOs and ambassadors to try to get all of the crimes that are in the Rome Statute codified into domestic national law in the state parties' countries, so that we could further human rights across the world.
Well, that's absolutely incredible. And I think that those experiences are definitely something that sets you apart from other candidates or even existing politicians. And I'm interested to see how that work will carry over for you. So, wrapping it up in the formal questions, how do you recommend that young people who want to get involved?
I think it's important to get involved in the issues that you're most passionate about, whether it's a campaign or whether it's trying to be the change that you want to see. I feel like when you're passionate about something, you're going to be the voice that people listen to. And as we both know, your generation is just up against so much right now. It's being hit the hardest. So I feel like if you want to make a difference, you can even start locally, like a campaign like mine, legislatively. We need volunteers, we need canvassers, we need phone bankers. It's a lot of fun actually talking to the voters. It's not as scary as it seems. People really don't have as much knowledge about government or about what policy is happening on a state level, than they do federally. So you're spending a lot of your time educating them. They might not know that something's affecting your community. So you're really educating the voters. And then that empowers them to make a decision based on their values. So I would encourage people to get involved this cycle. My race in particular is going to be very competitive. It's our best chance to flip this seat blue. So we would love all of the help we could get. And I hope that you can sign up for events on Mobilize or reach out to me via my campaign website. And I think that's like a great start for people to get involved.
I completely agree. I actually started my campaign work in LD13, doing exactly like you just said, canvassing and phone banking. And it was not as intimidating as I thought that it was going to be. It was a lot of just talking to other people and other neighbors and telling them about what local elections are and how they work. Because you're right, there is, educational barriers that we need to work through grassroots. So I definitely agree with that. And I love the way that you put that. Okay, so we like to end our podcast with a more lighthearted question. So, if you had to recommend a restaurant in LD13 to our viewers, what would it be?
Mm. So it's not really a restaurant, it's more of a cafe, but I really love the Maple House in downtown Chandler. It's kind of become my go-to for fueling up for the campaign and for meetings. So if you come, you're likely going to run into me, but I really like the Maple House.
Perfect. I'll have to check it out. Well, thank you so, so much for being here today. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava.